Alrighty, hello. Hello. I'm Chris from Airwindows, and don't mind me, I am setting up a studio thing that I am about to do. Let me see how this goes. So I'm going to try to make it so that I can see chat and stuff. I'm not sure how well I'm going to be able to do that. This is an experiment. And let's take a minute and see whether I have my free studio thing up and running. It looks like I have that working, and I've got. I'm going to try to make it so that I can see chat. Feedback, check it out. So this is how I'm going to have to look at chat. This is one of the things you can't download. But I am going to use this instance of Chrome over here. Pop out chat so that I can see what you're all saying. Also make it bigger so that I can read what you're saying. And this is going to be a sort of test drive. If you can't hear me super well, I'll try to speak up. What you see here is essentially a studio environment where everything here, including the streaming and like your special effects, maybe not this part, I have colored light effects going on to make it look cooler. But what you're seeing here is literally everything is free that I'll be doing. Like you can download it. So anything that I do here is stuff that you can have by downloading the plugins, the workstation, such like that. And I am ready to, let's see now. I haven't done everything from the start here, but here is something that I was going to do. Voila, I was waiting on getting this ready. A good part of your free studio diet. Surge Synthesizer. Now, one thing I might want to do is, excuse me for a second while I fool around with this. Probably I'm going to have to keep an eye on my meters and things. But so this is bespoke, and we can do a variety of things with it. And, you know, playing stuff like here. Here's a patch I made this morning in Surge. But you'll notice that Bespoke has this various stuff like we've got that inside, and I'm doing that with all the chroma keying and so on. And my goal, which I'm not going to do today because I'm just jumping in and doing a quick little stream and demonstrating some of this stuff, is to get back into my weird music making and do it entirely with these free tools. Now I'll talk a little bit about this because, again, getting the version of Bespoke that worked with Surge is something I was waiting on, and Paul at Surge helped me out with that. It's not actually a release version of Surge yet, so it's possible that it'll crash or something like that. Probably not, but we'll see. And I would also like to get the microphone closer to me, but I don't think I can. I'll do this. Now the microphone's closer to me. But the idea there is I want to start putting together stuff based on how this works. And I thought I would talk a little bit about Surge because I've been enjoying that community a lot. It is a great group of people, and they've pitched in to help out Bespoke, and Bespoke is what I'm actually using. Oh, I can turn this down a little bit. Here's a number of ways I can do that. For instance, it's the scene output. And I could, if I'm making this be a bass, I can make the cutoff start lower. Or this cutoff start lower. You'll notice that I'm using Aftertouch. I actually went in and updated it because the standalone version of Surge, which I can also use, is using Poly Aftertouch. And Bespoke seems to translate this into Channel Aftertouch instead. So I made them copy. I do that in Surge by right-clicking on it. And it showed me the things that I was doing something with. I'm pressing down to do that effect. And since it's a channel in Bespoke, the way that I do that is by clicking on the thing in the list. This is why Surge is so cool. This is why I wanted to focus on Surge starting off. It's a little bit more CPU intensive than some of the other ones, but there's a lot of stuff about it that's well worth it. And it's showing you everything that changes in the sound. So this could be like this. You can do a little scroll wheel action. If I make the inverse cutoff, that's going to make it darker by pushing, or I can make it. And that just made the aftertouch that much more sensitive. And, oh, hello, am I not getting. Oh, no, I am getting my. I'm still learning how this whole setup works. So basically, the microphone is now going into the Blackmagic Atom, which is something else that you can't actually download, but all this stuff you can. And we'll put that cutoff back. And what I've also got going on in here is a here's the oscillators. And I'm doing these in the way that I'm doing them. Oscillator drift is causing them to spread a little bit because other than that, they are very similar. If I click here, you can see what the three different oscillators are doing. That's one reason why this is eating so much CPU, is there's a lot going on in these Surge patches. There are many things in this that you can do. And os drift is separating a bit, and I can exaggerate that with the aftertouch. You're not hearing that much of it, but it is spreading a little bit. And we've also got a wave shaper. The way this is configured, the FM routing here, not only are these FM oscillators, all three of them, but we've also got all three of them in this routing going into, like, this is the only one that's not muted. Whereas this is number 2. Hang on. And this is number 3. And this is not a pan control. This is deciding whether or not to route to either of the 2 filters. But the way I've got the filters running is also shown up here. The whole thing is a really big, complicated configuration. Well, hang on a second. More mic or less synth, please. Tell you what, how about how's this? This was probably a little bit better, and there we go. Like, I can't see the levels on my mic as we're currently doing it. This is a work in process. This is like, what, the first 15 minutes of me doing this stream, so one thing at a time. Thank you for bringing it to my attention, though, because otherwise I won't know. I can't see the chat on the screen I'm working on, because the way it's set up, it's basically just all about being able to stream it at a high sample rate, or video rate. So your oscillator FM routing is all 3 of these oscillators are frequency modulating 1, and that's what it sounds like. If we didn't have that happening, then you got a very simple thing. But if we set it so that both of the other oscillators are FMing this one, that's where it gets gnarly. Although it's maybe more complicated than it needed to be. And since we've still got channel aftertouch enabled on here, and it shows up in blue when you do that, so you can see what it's going to do, we can find out what will happen if I was manipulating FM depth instead of cutoff on this. If I increase FM depth, what we get and let's bring a little of the cutoff back. We get a little sort of gnarlier, scarier. And we can turn it into just a sort of whoosh. Doing that with the aftertouch there. Let's go back to, or indeed another one of these. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do here, and I can close Surge down there. Here we have, Surge has all kinds of stuff available. That might be what's eating some of the CPU. Surge has also got band limited oscillators. So it's very sophisticated in that way. And I'm going to step away from Surge for a moment and see what else I can do. Like, because I also meant to demonstrate some other things. For instance, this is Dexid, which is a DX7 synthesizer, and I'm using it to make a kick drum. And I thought something that might be fun, and you can see there is a plugin. I've got Z-Notch on this plugin because I was working on getting this to be a good sort of beat for stuff that I'm working on. Let me go back and look at Here, if you need to open a thing in Bespoke, hold down a key. See, we have a bunch of things. A whole bunch of them is Airwindows plugins. But some of these plugins are also... Oh, no, that was mine. Hit backspace to delete it. XT is what I'm looking for. There we are. That's not plugged in, so we're not actually playing it this time. And let's look at some of the options in Surge again. Like I said, I was waiting on starting to do this until I had Surge available because I'm going to be reaching for it for stuff. Perhaps not everything, because it is very full-featured. There's a lot of stuff going on, and much like with my plugin design philosophy, you don't necessarily have to grab for everything at all times. By the way, let me know if the volume of my microphone is better, because I can check back and see how this is all doing, but oh, look, a heart. I have no idea what that does. Surge options, menu. Here we've got some stuff like, what is, oh, for heaven's sake, that's not what I needed. Excuse me. On the bright side, that is, well, no, that's not actually showing me anything I needed to see. Never mind. I can't answer your question, Ricky. I'm sorry. I can look it up maybe and find out later. I can't answer your question right now. Sorry about that. There are places you can learn, like Surge has a whole thing going on for Discord. And if I was able to answer your question, I would, but I'm not able to answer your question. Let's get back into what we were doing here. Here, check it out. Prefab. This is apparently a little group of stuff. And it's a little package of things where you can have this as stuff you can move around in a unit. Of course, what I'm going to want to do is not necessarily this. I'm not really quite sure what all of this is. If we tell it disband, that goes away. And then if we drag and select, we can make that go away. But here is what I might want to try to do. Let's take a minute and, oh, check this out. This is Matrix Land. We can live stream the studio and look up close at anything we want to refer to. There's probably a mouse drag thing, and I don't just know it off the top of my head. Yeah, the programming language that is being used for my plugins, such as this one, Znotch, is essentially C. The plugins are made in C++, but the parts that I'm using are basically C. When we open plugins, they're not following the bespoke picture. They're loading as separate little windows, which I believe also are showing, well, they would be showing on the screen because that's what I'm capturing. So let's see, check this out. Firstly, we have MIDI controller, but let's drag that away for a second, hit delete, or backspace, and I want to grab that for something else. And let us open something. Like, I'm trying to remember what the thing is that I wanted. It's not necessarily 4 on the floor. Let's see whether drum sequencer will be good. Except for I might also want to reach for something else here. Like some kind of splitter. I'm still learning how Surge works, but I'm going to want to send different things in this to different places. And let's see, grid rows. Let's assume I'm going to have 3 rows. we're now sending a note, and I'm going to want to split that out into separate things. So I'm going to be sending a note to Dexid. I'll spell out what the note is in Drum Sequencer. You'll see that it's actually working, and I can change this with this transport control. So I think it's going to be a note filter, and we're just going to send this to different places. There's one. And let's backspace out of there and say it's going to be like 32. So now we've got a beat, and we've got 32 and 32. We apply that. Now we've got a note filter that's only playing this one thing. Hey, I'm glancing over occasionally and looking at chat. I do have chat visible. Maybe I can make its font larger. But yeah, and you notice that up at this top corner, I'm still at only about 4 audio CPU. That's partly because my plugins are efficient to use, and it's partly because Dexid is not eating a lot of CPU as it goes. Let me take a moment and, yep. So I'm just checking the scroll back. I'm checking and making sure that everything works the way that I want. Let's go back to Bespoke, because I'm going to be getting used to this environment. We're going to spend some time hanging out and doing stuff here. I need to make this. There we go. TLDW of what's happening. This is the first day, and I can't spend all day. I'm going to have to stop this probably before I get anything really serious happening, but this is a trial run of Airwindows Free Studio. And what that means is all of these plugins that you see here, and that includes some synthesizers, and there might be a couple of things tucked in there that are still left, which are not free. But all of the Airwindows plugins tucked in here are free for download and use. And Bespoke is free for download and use, and it's also open source, meaning that you can build your own or fork your own version of it. Same with the plugins. And I got a handle on having Surge available. Surge is also free for download and use and open source. Everything that you see here, up to and including the video processing that's doing the chroma keying, is free. Everything here you can have. And let's just add a couple of other things, like we're going to make a console version. Let me open up Console 7 Bus. And not just Console 7 Bus, but I'm going to want to open up Tube. You see I'm holding down the T key, and that's showing me all of the T stuff of every kind. We're going to open up Tube 2. We're going to hold down the M key and open up Monitoring 2. You'll notice it hiccuped a little bit, but hopefully the encoding and streaming still worked. And that's what I'm going to want to send to the output. And I'm going to show you some cool things. Firstly, let's open up something else, like what might be good. Tricent has pretty pads. I can open up that. That is a full bucket synthesizer. It has some it focuses on some different things than Surge, and I'll be reaching for those sometimes as well. I'd like to make my own software synthesizers. I don't think I'm quite there yet. Oh, you spotted that. That's coming. In a couple of weeks, you're going to be able to download that. I got a couple of things happening first. Now, let's see. So, as you can see, we can patch the MIDI into the synth, but we're not hearing it yet because I haven't got it patched through yet. And we can open up things like here. Let me hit this and check it out. Galactic. You'll notice that that was part of my patch in the Surge thing, because Surge has a selection of Airwindows plugins built into it. But this is bespoke, so we can do all of the above. And we're going to set that up in such a way. And let us, I'm going to move these things over here because this is my kick drum. I can also change this to be like 7/4. And a variety of different things run off of this transport control. That's pretty much just how it works. And yeah, this bespoke is really very interesting to my mind, and not just because I can do this crazy matrix stuff. Like, here, let's zoom in on Galactic. Hi, this is what I'm doing with this plugin. And we've got the background thing. There's apparently scripting stuff where I can change the color of that, and I might find interesting things to do there. But first things first, we are setting up a Airwindows mix, just like I would in a DAW, before I finish doing the stream today, where you'll be able to hear everything blend and run in Airwindows console. And the first thing we do there is, see, we could distort this, but I don't think we're going to have to. So let's just grab console 7 channel. I don't think I have the way of making this work, but now this little chain of things is running through console 7 channel, and I've got Galactic, which is actually running. We're just not hearing it, and a synth, and we're not hearing that either, but you can see it making stuff happen. Hey, Rose, y'all might wind up seeing that name in chat. That Rose is somebody that is rather special to me, so be nice. In a sense, Rose is inspiring all of this kind of stuff because I'm full of ideas upon meeting her, and you're beginning to see the results. Remember how I said I was going to make a console mix? Check this out. Console bus into tube 2, into monitoring, into output. And now we are running tube as part of the sound. You can hear I have the availability of making the entire bus system a lot bigger and fatter there. And watch this. Remember how we, hang on a second. Little option drag. That's how you set up an Airwindows system in Bespoke. It's as easy as that. And I'll tell you something else interesting. Watch this. Let me check. I think it's going to be, yeah, it's also going to be MIDI controller. So M for MIDI controller. Look, there's another MIDI controller. This is my keyboard, and it's making a big, powerful sound out of this thing called Tricent. Tricent is a kind of string simulator. It doesn't come with its own reverb, but Galactic has better reverb than most of these. And Galactic is here, so I can set its dry wet to be. But supposing we want to change the level of that, well, we've got this other MIDI controller open. Notice that I've got nano control available here. I might want to tuck this over somewhere where I can see it, but seeing as we have the matrix vision for this, that is already also patched in. Oh, it's nice of you to say. And trust me, she is a feisty lady, so you don't have to act super extra nice. But I've got another MIDI controller patched in. Watch what happens on the screen. There, I'll zoom in and show you. When I move this, this is a fader that I have K written on for kick. So that highlights. That is showing a thing. And the way you set up a system for running the like this stuff. See, I just moved this little channel over here. I can like move everything around all I want. Let's just I believe I can open this and that will work, but if not, I know what else I can do. That's moving. Oh no, it actually didn't. So let us do this. See how I clicked on that? That's letting me select a control from out of there. And that's the fader for console 7 channel. If I move this and click on that, it's showing all of this stuff highlighted in pink. I click on the right one. Now I have my kick drum in the live mix selecting one of these things. And I could also say, I've got other things that aren't necessarily labeled right, but I've got two other things that are moving here, which you can probably see on the screen. And I can select dry wet for galactic and fader for the output of that channel. And this can be the loudness. And this can be, hang on, I gotta get it to highlight. Oh wait, I kind of need to be playing that in order to hear what it's doing. It doesn't have a sequencer attached right now. So let's see whether I can get this going. I may have both of them attached to the same thing. So that's now attached to the loudness of this whole reverb thing. And then if I adjust this one, there we go. But wait, there's more. Let's find out whether I can tell this to be something else entirely. Here's another control called replace. Oh, it's letting me see both of them. How handy. And what we're going to do is make this slider, which just showed up over here, go to click on it until it highlights this, and this is now the control called replace. So now I have three different things moving. This is dry wet. This is the volume. And this is replace. And all of that is on faders on a little MIDI controller, which I can repurpose any of those anytime I want just by dragging stuff around. And what replace does is this. Hear how I can... this in the mix quieter. Now when I adjust replace, in Airwindows Galactic, what that does is this. Replace is now doing an infinite sustain on that note. Now, one thing about it is that since this is being done with Galactic, that solo is not itself a reverb, but I can just bring it in to the infinite sustain. And that's how you start doing stuff in the... Here, let's do something else too. Let's select this. Okay, well, we'll work on that. Like, as far as the mic is concerned, I know this is meant to be like a techno mix kind of deal. Here, I'll quiet that down. There we go. See, if I have everything on faders, I can bring everything down a little bit, and then you can hear me talking a little better. The talking is not actually going through console. Everything in here is about what's happening inside console. So let's see, option drag, boom. Now I have another channel that is already patched into Airwindows console correctly. It's keeping the same thing, and it will make as many copies of this as it needs, and they're all going to work perfectly. And let's make a hi-hat before I go, because I actually need to make dinner. But this is a pretty good start off, I think, especially since I haven't even got any sequencers going. But the tone of all this is working pretty well, I think. So let's see, what do we need in order to make a hi-hat? We need a synth, and let's call it a sample player. I don't think sampler is the one that I want. I think sample player is the one that I want. Although I could be mistaken. I'm still learning how all of this works. So this is literally my first time firing it all up. And I am probably going to... We'll finish it off with a lead and surge afterwards. But... scroll from here. I am going to find out how I can just pan the entire canvas around a little bit, because I'm sure I'm not doing this the most efficient way. But here, now you can see what the whole studio looks like. And it all goes to this little output. And Bespoke has this neat feature where you can set it up so that it will record for you not the next, but the last half hour or so of whatever you did. And I don't know how well that'll work with, like, that can't possibly work with live inputs, because it can't be recording all the live inputs, or at least I don't think it can. Oh, hold space and move. Let me test. Somebody knows this. Somebody knows Bespoke. Nailed it. Okay, now we know. That's not unusual. In fact, I'm not even having to click. Cool. That's going to make everything run a lot quicker. So, sample player. Firstly, let's route the sample player to something. And we're going to want a note filter. And I do have to select this rather than just clicking on it. Select these and move them. Let's take this and delete that connection. So one thing I'm going to want to do is change that pitch. believe I shift drag. It looks like it. Yep. So what we've got is a note filter that is registering this, but it should not be actually sending through the other note. It looks like it kind of is doing it, so we're gonna investigate this. Anywho, one thing at a time. So sample player. Where can I load samples? Let's load a sample. I've got an alias to a folder here. I'm going to open up a hat of some kind. I think I can't actually open this up, but yep, note filter is not working the way I want yet, so let's just instantiate another one. N for note filter. It might have been a bug, I'm not really sure. And let's see if this one listens any better. Again, shift to make the new thing. Not yet. But what if I, nope. So yeah, note filter might not be working for me yet. I will see about that. Maybe I can tell this to do something else. We'll figure this out before I'm quite done. So that's not what I want. Sounding kind of cool, but that's not what I want. Let's see if we can do this differently. For one, yeah, note filter is not doing what I want. It's not the thing. I need something else. Note gate. Note filter is going to be something else. Let's try note gate for that purpose. We're back to our sound. How shall we apply this? Nope, that's not the one either. Note effects. Alrighty, so we're trying to find something that'll filter MIDI notes and only allow some of them through. I thought this says it's supposed to do what I want, so that's mysterious. Maybe, let's see if it still works, even though this is claiming. Maybe the way that it's set, it needs to be having, I bet I know what it is. I bet there needs to be the ones in here. Let's set this up quickly. Now I got 34, 33, and 32. Let us now program note filter to be 33. No, 32 actually. Apply that. There we go. Okay, we figured it out. We got there. We got there. And now that I select this and option drag it, we should be able, no, hang on. I need to shift drag this to both of these. These disallow these notes. And now we have our little transy thing. But check it out, there's one more thing I meant to do. No, two more things that I meant to do. This is a very primitive little trance jam. I think that should not be hard left, but we'll figure it out. Console 7 is, in fact, a stereo effect, so we're going to want a mono to stereo. Let's see if that has nope, that's not what it's called, but it's going to be called something other. Audio effects, there we go. Splitter. A splitter sends mono to stereo. Except for it's not. So let's solve this problem too. I know I have a plugin that'll do this. A couple of them actually. If we're coming in only on the left channel, let's fire up my utility plugin left to mono. That ought to do it. Like, that can't be the right answer. There must be a way of making sample player work properly, but since we're not there yet, there we go. Alrighty, so, and just for laughs, L for LFO. What have we got? No, that's not what LFO is called, so note effects maybe? LFO means low frequency oscillator. So that's what I'm now looking for, is what, maybe it's in instruments. I think there is a sequencer with individual outs for the lanes, but there's one more thing that I needed to do. Watch this. Offsets. I have spent a lot of time and effort getting the, here, hang on a second. I want another hat. And we're going to do that by selecting all of this and option dragging it. Shift drag. Just load a different sample. Just make that stop. Sorry about the drone, but well, I don't have to be sorry about the drone. I can make it be quiet. And let us load a different sample. Samples 80, so I'll improve this going forward. There's also ways of being able to hear this go, but I don't have that set up right at the moment. What would be good? This is my sample collection, by the way. This too you can download for free. And note we're running at about 23 CPU, even with all of this stuff sitting there ready to be used. How about electro hat? How would that be? it's not 32, but this final one. No, I don't like Electro Hat, it sucks. Let's grab another one. Airwindows Dimensional, that being what you can download and have. And let's see, I know that there were some that seemed appropriate. How about Bionic? I don't like that. I want one that's more impacty. Hang on. We'll get there. We're getting through there. Dimensional. How about crisp aggressive? I'm gonna find the LFOs too, but one thing at a time, I guess. Alright, that'll do. I just sped it up until it was going as fast as I wanted. And let's leave out. These are not cutting each other off, but they are making an appropriate sound. So now we can do this. Signal generators. I would like this to be even faster. Hey, welcome to the Techno Jam. Let's load another damn sample. I'm still not happy with that one. Super clean. That's a little closer to what I had in mind. Crank it up in console so we can hear it more clearly. This is what offset does. Listen to that backbeat. We can adjust the timing of drum sequencer channel by channel. I have spent a lot of effort doing that in real live modular synthesizers and bought actual modules that can delay things and worked out how I could make that happen in various stuff. This just does it. So what we're going to do, and you can kind of see me doing it on the, like, we zoom in. This is how this is done. We're shifting the groove. We're shifting the groove so that we can hear what it does. And we're sitting that snare a little bit back, and we're going to set the kick drum a little bit forward, which is going to make it a better groove. And remember, we've still got Dexed open, so we could fool with this as well if we wanted. We can't change the note that it is, but this is a whole synthesizer that's playing at the same time as... Oh no, wait, I stopped having that plugged in, sorry. We just took out some of our pad. Turn it back up again. Let's close this. I'll go back to having that pad there. So we've now got a groove adjusted jam going on inside the Airwindows mix. Drum sequencer is triggering all of these various things. We can turn down console channel. We can apply that to the MIDI controller anytime we want, or just affect all of the things that are going on. This is all the stuff that's patched at the moment. And here's our chord. And let's finish it off with Surge again. Surge XT. It just hiccuped by instantiating that, but that will sometimes happen. And we're going to select this, drag over there, Option drag it. Surge, give me my buzzsaw again. Oh god, it's so loud. And we'll handle that separately. And one of the things that's going on is that it's just a very loud console. Galactic. While we're at it, we're still only at 25 CPU. Option drag, and now we actually have 2 instances of Galactic. Hello, wakey wakey, there we go. And we don't want that in there, we want that in here. That up quickly so that we can manipulate it. This one's the one that lives over here. Replace means 0 replace, no new sounds coming in. Dry wet, detune gives me the space in there. And we can also make it be a little smaller and tighter. Just the way. And hang on a second. Multiple checkbox selector. That's not a pulse, it's an other. I don't want Ableton push. What do we got here? What's this thing do? Drag this to things, so let's drag it to this button and this button. Interesting. hit the wrong thing. That box didn't do quite what I expected. Oh, I know why that's happening. And that is Airwindows Free Studio. I'm looking forward to doing more of these things, particularly with all the funny stuff that you can discover in the middle of it all. Now let me start closing some of this out, because I basically just improvised it all. And I can sort of make some of that quietly. Anyway, maybe I'll leave those so I remember how it's done. If that, probably don't even need to worry about it. There we are. Yeah. Thank you for joining me on this maiden voyage. Oh, look, there's still gray things connected over here. That's interesting. I can make those not be a thing by finding the one that was selected. In this case, these guys go back to not there, but there's one. Maybe it is going to leave those hanging around on the screen. Doesn't matter. That's not a big problem. Alrighty then. That concludes the maiden voyage of the Airwindows Free Studio. Again, everything that you see or hear here you can have for free by downloading it. The samples, bespoke, Airwindows plugins, all the synthesizers that you've seen, all of it. That's what makes it interesting to me. So we will see what we can do about doing various stuff. It's going to be an interesting journey, and there will be other times that I have more time to spend on this. I'm going off to a meeting this evening, and I have to make dinner before I do that, so I'm going to take a minute and do that. But I've learned useful things. Like learning how this stuff works is good. This, I need to spell out everything in Drum Sequencer so that I can tell it not to play. If it's not included in this, it'll get through. And that's worth knowing about. But yeah, we're going to make some music. It's going to be interesting. And everything that I do can be had by anybody running these programs and stuff. And I just like that idea an awful lot. So that said, let's go into OBS land. OBS is actually another thing that you can download for free. So I kind of like the fact that there is that going on as well. And we'll say goodbye for now, and I'll talk to you all later.